When I go to the International House of Pancakes, and then I eat so much that I feel sick.
And then you're slow moving to get out of there, so there's even more.
I would have died.
There. Yeah.
Oh, would have been a rough day for me. Hello, and welcome to episode 13 of Kicking Trees. Today, we are talking Superman Returns. Is it good? Is it worth it? Oh shit. Hello, and welcome to episode 13 of Kicking Trees. Today, we're discussing Man of Steel. Is it good? Does it deserve the contempt? Let's find out. Okay, so right off the bat, we have what seems like 25 minutes of Jor-El. I didn't time this one, though.
I didn't time this one either. It was a long time.
It was very long.
Probably about as long as the first Superman's Krypton time, though.
Yeah, probably similar.
Yeah.
Something on Krypton I liked is that it had a bunch of weird animals, but Jor-El having a pet dragon, that was a little bizarre.
That was strange. It was also more badass, though.
Him having a dragon?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool,
Yeah.
him having a pet dragon, but I also thought Jor-El was too tough.
Yeah.
Famed scientist Jor-El took down a squad of 5 men in
He was definitely trained in some Kryptonian mixed martial arts, for sure.
Okay.
The looks of it, which was strange. But also, I did hate the first movie's Krypton time because it was so boring, so adding in some random action helps me along.
He can have action without Jor-El being a highly trained assassin.
He was amazing.
He
was pulling crazy.
was doing
punches and
skydives.
everything,
Yeah.
yeah.
He took out a goon squad of 5 guys while he was handcuffed.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Famed scientist Jor-El here. That is his profession.
And he stole a gun and had impeccable aim as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another little weird change is that the Science Council acknowledges and agrees with Jor-El that Krypton's exploding.
Yeah.
So they just give up, I guess.
Yeah, that was also weird. They just were dumb.
Yeah. Like them not believing Jor-El, being science deniers of Jor-El.
That's fair.
That works better and is a more
Yeah.
realistic situation. It is more of the hubris of the Kryptonians.
Yeah.
But this is...
Zod was in the right for wanting to kill them, honestly.
Yeah, he was.
They were like, yeah, it's going to explode. What do I care?
Yeah. And
So Zod was like, yeah, we should not have just let this happen.
Zod wanted to leave the planet too, didn't he?
He wanted to save bloodlines and stuff. At least.
Oh, that's where they disagreed.
Yeah.
So then another change they make in this movie is that the Kryptonians, they don't have natural births. They have predestinies for their citizens. So they will create a farmer, they'll create a politician, just straight from this Kryptonian genome thing that looks like a skull, but can also be transformed.
Yeah.
Into a little USB that also somehow contains Jor-El.
Yeah.
Now, do they show Jor-El uploading his consciousness to the Kryptonian USB? No, they do not.
No.
But
Jor-El wasn't very hologrammy. He was just
a man.
Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing I didn't like is right at the beginning, Jor-El beats the shit out of Zod in one-on-one hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah.
Zod's not intimidating if he's losing a fight to scientist man Jor-El.
No, but this Jor-El had just taken down 20 other men all on his own.
But give Zod a win at the beginning, so he seems like a threat.
And you know what? He did end up killing Jor-El anyway.
Well, Jor-El was distracted.
Yeah, I know, but like, while you're on it, like, why not just have Zod win that fight then? If
give him a clean win of some kind.
Yeah, that would make some more sense.
Yeah.
Make him more threatening.
It was just bizarre.
Yeah.
And then Jor-El dies, and then they have time. The Kryptonian Council has time to put Jor-El and his goons through some sort of legal system. And
it's important when the planet's exploding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Condemn them to the Phantom Zone, which was really just being frozen in ice.
Into giant dicks.
Yeah.
Actually, is what it looked like.
It did. Why'd they call that the Phantom Zone if they were just being suspended?
I don't know.
Wasn't a zone?
It's just some dork that named it the Phantom Zone.
Yeah. And then the Science Council knew the planet was exploding, and they were like, let's send these villains off planets.
Yeah, they had to have known they were going to save them then.
Yeah, and then also enough time passed because they go back to Lara El, and she set up this like memorial for Jor-El in their home.
Yeah.
So days have presumably passed.
They probably still had time to save the planet.
Easily.
At the start of the movie.
Man.
But they had to go through all the legal processes instead.
They were busy.
Yeah.
What? I also think Russell Crowe, I felt he was phoning it in a bit with his acting.
What are you doing, Zod? This is madness. What I should have done.
When he's like,
What do you want from him for as
"What
Paul?
are you doing, Zod? This is madness."
I thought a lot of the lines in this movie actually were like weaker than the actor's normal level.
The delivery?
Yeah.
Like they were phoning
Like,
it in.
a lot of them were
Mhm.
phone. Like there were some Amy Adams lines and some Henry Cavill lines where I was like, that sounded weird. That sounded like
Oh, yeah.
it was choppy.
Like
but-
Amy Adams. Henry Cavill was an unknown at this point.
yeah.
So he gets a pass.
But now we know he's a great actor.
But maybe, I'm not saying for sure, but maybe he was still like coming into it.
Not sure of himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Amy Adams was a respected actress at this point.
And she was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Like this was possibly her worst role. I have nothing against her, but she was not good in this movie.
No, she was not. It was another low energy Lois.
Yeah.
As well.
And I don't know why they do that.
I don't know.
Her Lois Lane kind of sucked.
She did.
She had no personality.
No. Michael Shannon, he needed a goatee for this role.
Yeah.
Zod, a large part of his character is somehow the goatee.
It's his look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Accuse you with that he's evil.
Yeah. And that he is Zod. If I see him in normal clothing in a comic, since facial expressions are hard in a comic, but I see that goatee, I'm like, that's Zod
That's
right there.
Zod.
Yeah.
And then I also noticed that Russell Crowe's Jor-El pronounces Kelix wrong.
I was wondering if I was pronouncing it wrong.
I'm fairly
He
certain.
said Keelix, right?
Yeah, he was saying Kelix. In the cartoons, they say Kelix. though.
Okay, yeah. I was pretty sure it was Kelix as well.
Kelix.
His mom said it wrong as well. I think she also called him Keelix.
So that was a very Avatar Last Airbender movie. Aang
Yeah.
versus Ong thing.
Yeah, it shows some ignorance from certain movie makers, I
Yes.
guess, on the topic of Superman while they're making a Superman movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But even just reading it phonetically, it reads Kelix.
Yeah, it does. That's Kelix.
If you wanted a Kelix, it would have another letter in there.
Yeah, another E or something. Also, Kelix. Kelix sounds weirder as well. It just doesn't sound as good.
I did like that Clark goes out his way to save those guys at the oil rig.
Yeah.
Just some quick heroics from him. He was risking his whole secret identity thing, which he clearly values. So
Yeah.
he did give some sacrifice. Minor sacrifice there.
He did. He was on fire for a moment, actually, in that, and I was wondering what on him was on fire. Because he was shirtless and his skin was on fire, but can skin be on fire if it's not burning away?
I don't think so. Maybe.
Maybe he was covered in oil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
After the oil rig thing, he's in the ocean. He starts thinking back to his childhood. And they show him and his good old pal, Pete Ross, who is now a school bully. And then they become friends.
Mm-hmm. Don't they show him in class first, having an episode because he hears too much?
Oh, maybe. I did like that as well.
I liked that too.
There are things I liked in this movie, but it was also overall boring.
Yeah. Also, if I were Clark's teacher in that scene, I would have gotten him some mental health assistance instead of gathering all the students outside the door he was trapping himself in so they could all talk shit about him on the other side of the door.
They're in Kansas.
Maybe they don't get mental health assistance, but gathering the entire class.
Oh, poor teaching.
Yeah.
Poor teaching on her part.
And then when he got out of the water, he does just steal someone's clothing, and I thought he was going to return them later, but I don't think he does.
No.
He's just a thief.
See, he was on the run. I think he would have asked.
Maybe, or he could have returned them after
He could
as
have.
well.
But I think him asking would have added like a little awkward scene.
Yeah.
And then they just would have added some personality and levity and showed he's just a good guy.
Yeah, because he could have just been friendly to these random people. They didn't
Yeah.
know he was just on the run or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been nice. And then it's going to the bus scene.
A bus gets a flat tire. The school bus gets a flat tire, and then all Clark and his class fall into the lake or the river or something
Yeah, off a bridge.
off a bridge. And then P. Ross sees it all happen. He knows that Clark has superpowers. But then afterwards, when Clark saves the bus, he's talking to Pa Kent. He's like, what was I supposed to do? Let them all die? And then Pa Kent famously is like, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, I cannot believe he said maybe.
Like,
They were children.
exactly. I don't care if you want like a pragmatic John Kent.
Yeah, but he wouldn't have said maybe. Like, you just think maybe there was another way or something. Not maybe let them die. Yeah, Clark, you should watch those kids die.
What are you thinking when
Yeah.
writing this?
Maybe hide what you did and do it in secret.
Mhm.
No, maybe they should have died.
Yeah. So they're like, the world wouldn't be ready for you, Clark. He could, like do it in secret somehow, which he did.
Yeah.
No one knew except for Pete Ross.
And Lana.
Did Lana know?
Yeah, afterwards, when the parent is complaining to Ma and Pa, she says, Lana saw it too.
Oh, she does say that.
Yeah.
John Kent then talks to, after the parent coming over, John talks to Clark and says Pete's mom was scared She she was scared that Clark saved the bus, but she wasn't scared. She was like, that was an act of God. It was providence.
Yeah, she was hopeful.
Yeah. Like, where are you getting this from, John Kent?
Yeah. And then he was like, oh my God, Clark, you need to let people die.
He's clearly a serial killer.
Yeah. He's living through his child
Yeah.
and let people die. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, I really don't like that.
That was such a dumb one. Pa Kent is really dumb in this.
He is.
He's a horribly written character.
He's frustrating.
Yeah, he is.
So
he makes no sense anytime he's speaking.
No. Let's skip ahead to when John Kent dies.
Okay.
So then there's a tornado in Kansas, and then they forget their dog in the car, and John Kent then sacrifices his life to save the dog.
First of all, before he was even in that situation, him and Superman were like far away, and he said, Superman, you go get these people to the, 100 feet away. I'll rush back into the tornado. They should have switched jobs.
Yeah.
He should have been like, you can probably get the dog and run back without revealing your secret powers at all. Like, he would have been able to make it.
Especially since John Kent was planning on doing that part as well.
Yeah.
So he was like, feasibly a man can do this.
Yeah.
Can save the family dog without dying, but I won't have my superpowered son do it.
No. Yeah, and then he can't do it without twisting his ankle.
Yeah. And then Clark's like, I gotta save him. He's like, no, son, let me die.
Yeah. And then Clark is like, I'm powerless when Paul lifts his hand up like this. Yeah.
They were trying to do the same thing from the first Superman movie, because this has a bunch of stuff from the first two Superman movies again, because they don't bother reading any source material.
Yeah.
So it had the same thing where they wanted to show that Clark is powerless in some situations. He can't save everyone, but it's not the same thing as him having a heart attack.
Because he can't stop a heart attack.
No, he can't.
He could have saved Pa.
He could have easily.
It's completely different.
Oh, that was just frustrating. And I don't think I like Kevin Costner at all.
As a person?
In any movie role.
What about Waterworld?
I think his acting is poor in most movies.
That's wild.
Yeah, that's my hot take.
You can't say that.
Kevin Costner sucks.
You can't say that.
Yeah, he never really acts. He just does this Kevin Costner exhausted thing.
Well, his characters are exhausted.
All of them are exhausted.
He has to act exhausted.
Okay.
Now we got to go back a bit.
Yeah, we're gonna go back
because John Kent's death is kind of in the middle. Yeah, it's pretty far in.
So then back after the oil rig, when he steals those clothes, he's at a bar.
Right.
Did you know where the bar was?
No.
Somewhere in Canada.
How do you know that?
Because the military police say something about the Americans are here too.
Oh, okay.
So they were in Canada at
and
that
he's
bar.
Helping that waitress bartender against some asshole guy.
She was calling him honey. Were they dating?
Oh, I thought that was just like friendly bartender.
You think they're just friendly? Okay.
Getting tips.
Yeah. Then Clark was vindictive.
He was immediately vindictive.
Yeah.
Also, he works there, like he could have just asked the guy to leave.
He could have.
Yeah.
And then that guy assaults Clark, and those military police are just doing nothing during that.
They seem entertained by it, actually. Like
they're sick.
Yeah, they are.
They're not doing their job.
No. Yeah, also, that guy stands up.
And he's so short.
He's like this tall compared to Henry Cavill. He's like, yeah, I'm going to fight this guy.
Even if he wasn't Superman, he's losing that fight.
Yeah, Henry Cavill is just huge.
Yeah, like, hire a bigger guy.
Yeah.
Just another weird, frustrating thing.
Yeah. And I also thought like the more responsible thing would have been to ask a crazy customer to leave the business, obviously, not ruin his truck so he has to hang around the bar around that waitress some more.
Yeah, like can businesses just bars can throw people out?
If they're getting belligerent and stuff, yeah.
He was in the right to throw that guy out, and he could have done it again without revealing his superpowers.
Yeah, because he's a huge guy, and he was the customer was a tiny man.
Yeah. Oh my God. Frustrating. A frustrating film.
Yeah. And also he like made a work of art out of the logs in his truck. Like the guy, I don't know what the guy thought happened to his truck. I don't know what anyone would think happened. He had like the logs inside the ground facing up and the truck stabbed through them.
How did he do that without anyone seeing?
Yeah, that would have been so loud.
One. Yeah. Or hearing. Yeah. And then also the truck driver's he's not that bewildered even. He's just
he's like, oh fuck.
Oh.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
He just turns around and calls someone after. He's like, yeah, my truck got stabbed by its own logs.
It's an act of God.
Yeah.
Divine providence. No. And then after that, they show Lois on some sort of assignment in a snowy place. Do you know where she is?
No.
Canada.
I should have guessed that after your last question.
Yeah. So then they discover that Kryptonian ship, which I guess has been in Canada.
Yeah, all along.
For thousands of years.
And we couldn't find it. We never knew.
No, we don't have any research.
No.
No.
And then Superman is there as well. Or
Yeah.
Clark Kent.
The first, Lois, they have a little pee joke with Lois.
What was that?
She's like, where am I going to tinkle?
Oh, yeah,
I
and
was
there's a
like,
bucket.
well, that's a weird joke.
Yeah.
It wasn't played up enough to be funny.
No.
It was low-key enough to be weird.
Yeah. And also just...
Like, she said it very innocently. Like,
yeah.
It wasn't objecting.
And it was just such a not fun... all the Lois Lane scenes before were pretty fun. Because of her attitude and stuff. She would have had some fun interactions, but she was just so serious and bland. She just kept on, like, walking through all this stuff like nothing was going on.
She would have been in those guys' faces. Like, you expect me to pee in a bucket?
Yeah. That would have been awesome.
She would have gone in a different room.
Yeah. That would have been great.
But no, she's passive. And then I think I missed something. Why was Clark looking for that Kryptonian ship?
I thought I missed something. I don't know. Did we both miss something?
Okay, I'm going to assume we didn't miss something if they don't say.
Because, yeah, he was just there.
Yeah, and he was actively looking for it because he's heat visioning through everything.
Yeah. Did he find out something? I don't know.
I don't remember them showing him finding out anything. And they don't say anything later on about why he's looking for it, as far as I can remember.
Yeah. Are we forgetting something?
I have in my notes, why is he looking for it?
Because he doesn't meet Jor-El till he's in that shit,
yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay, that's weird. I don't know.
Okay. There must be a deleted scene, surely, but who knows? Probably not.
And also, when it comes to Lois Lane, he cares a lot less about his secret identity in this one because he lets her know within like 10 minutes of her being on screen. He saves her from that one robot and he's like, yeah, I can do things most people can't.
Yeah.
Christopher Reeve would have tripped and accidentally killed that robot. And he's like, oh, sorry, Lois, I just fainted.
Could have done some slapstick comedy.
Yeah.
There. Would have died. The Kryptonian ship had been frozen in Canada for 20,000 years. It wasn't even underground.
No, 20,000 years and not finding that is embarrassing.
It was above ground as they.
It was fairly above ground.
Yeah, above ground level. It was. Whatever, same thing.
Lois was able to enter it without an issue.
Yeah,
there was a way in. So
that was because Superman lasered.
But so much was sticking out.
Yeah, so much was sticking. Yeah,
like a whole wing or something.
The Kryptonian ship being there for 20,000 years and him have unexplained seeking it out. It somehow made less sense than in the original one, him having that crystal technology throwing it into the Arctic.
Because at least they're like, yeah, these crystals create fortresses, okay.
Yeah, it's like, sure.
But if they just explained, yeah, Superman's looking for this, then it would make sense. But they just didn't explain anything. Yeah,
well, no, the Canadians not finding the ship for 20,000 years.
Yeah.
The fortress being new to Earth in the original Superman.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, it's not like a mystery of the Arctic thing.
Also, it's just way less cool than the fortress. They got rid of all the color and all the beautifulness of the fortress by having it be a gray ship instead.
Just bland.
Yeah, every part of it is gray.
Like this movie.
Yeah.
And then that robot thing that we mentioned earlier, that gives Lois quite the hit. But she was damaged from it.
She was damaged.
Unlike Superman Returns, where she was invulnerable.
Yeah, she would have been fine. That Lois would have been fine. Mm-hmm. And then, as we said, everything is just gray. The Daily Planet is so much less exciting.
It's devoid of energy.
Yeah. No one is cartoony in any way.
It's
Perry White sounds depressed.
Yeah, it's always cloudy.
Yeah. They have like dim lights.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
Have you seen that clip of the new James Gunn one where he's flying and the camera's like right in front of his face?
Yeah.
And people were making fun of it and saying it's horrible directing and stuff, or just like the Snyder fans were saying that.
Yeah. They do that in this.
There's a scene, like an exact same scene in this one.
Yeah.
I have a picture of it because I couldn't believe it. Yeah. It's like the exact same angle and everything. I don't know if this could even be seen, but...
No, send me that picture and I'll put it in there.
Okay, yeah. It's the exact same thing.
I didn't think of that. You're very right.
Yeah, I was watching it and I couldn't believe what I was seeing there because what are they complaining about?
Because the Snyder fans haven't actually watched these movies more than once.
Yeah, so they have no actual memory of what happened. No. They were just like, it was a dark and cool Superman.
Yes. I'm always like, what are the Snyder fans actually fans of here? This movie, Man of Steel's boring. Batman versus Superman. Okay, I can't give an honest opinion on that one because I haven't watched it in its entirety.
Yeah.
But I presume it's horrible.
Yeah.
And then that's it for the Snyderverse?
And Justice League.
The Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
Yeah. So are they fans of the Snyder Cut? But then where did this release the Snyder Cut enthusiasm come from?
I guess just from those two.
Yeah.
I think what half of that, yeah.
So then when Superman gets on that Kryptonian ship, he plugs in his USB and then Jor-El appears.
Right, yeah.
It
would have been cooler if he looked like a hologram.
It would have been.
And not just a guy standing there.
Do they show Ma Kent giving Clark the USB at any point?
I don't know.
I don't think they do. So that was a weird little bit too then.
Yeah.
And then they go on. Jor-El explains the history of Krypton to Clark, and the main thing he says is Krypton exhausted their natural resources, then started mining the core of the planet. But that also Krypton was sending out these vessels, these ships like the one Clark's on, which had a dead Kryptonian on it,
Yeah.
to other planets, presumably to get their resources. So were they just completely unsuccessful in getting resources from these other planets?
Yeah, and also, like, what was the deal with the Earth crew there? Like, did they die on the spot?
No.
They landed and died?
I don't think... I get...
Because wouldn't they have contacted some humans or something?
I don't know.
If they made any progress?
They only showed one body as well.
Yeah, one-man crew.
So I think what happened is it was like a Planet of the Apes thing where they had those preservation pods, and then I guess they broke and they died.
Wow, what a crew.
I guess. I don't really
But
know.
also they should have some way of like, hey, these people aren't back yet. Maybe we should find out what happened if they're trying to get natural resources and stuff. But then I
Yeah.
guess they might not have the resources to check up on those people.
Makes no sense.
No.
You like saying the Kryptonians went to the stars. Zod's about that as well later on, but that was only added in to then explain away this new fortress,
Yeah.
which wouldn't have been necessary if they did a normal Fortress of Solitude.
I hated this fortress.
Yeah. And then they say, Clark's like, why didn't you guys come with me, Mom and Dad from Krypton? And Jor-El's like, me and Lara could not join you because we were a product of Krypton's failure. It's a horrible excuse.
No, it is.
It's a
It's
non-reason.
completely just an excuse. That's all it is.
Yeah. Normally, why they don't come with is that this smaller rocket is a prototype of some kind and you didn't have time to build a bigger one.
Yeah. And they use it, only a baby could fit.
Yes.
Yeah.
But now they have all the time in the world to build rockets and whatever.
Not
Oh,
because they had to have a
they-
trial.
they have spaceships.
They're flying them around when they're fighting Zod and stuff.
Zod has a spaceship that he arrives on Earth in.
They wanted to die.
Yeah, what the heck? He did want to die. Why? Yeah,
And they were flying. There was a bunch flying around when the Zod attack
there
was happening.
And we know that they're capable of interstellar travel in some capacity.
Because Zod does, and the crashed ship on Earth.
And it didn't even take long for Zod to get there because he wasn't aware of the crashed ship until Clark activated it, like
Yeah.
that beacon. So it only took a day or two for Zod to arrive.
He got there. Wait, did they say how he got out of the Phantom Zone jail cell thing?
The Phantom Zone jail cell dissolved itself when Krypton exploded.
He was imprisoned for like 30 minutes then?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay.
Just all these attempts at trying to make it realistic.
Yeah, and it made no sense.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I also really didn't like how there was no Clark Kent shenanigans whatsoever.
Just no Clark Kent at all.
No, because he's not even Clark Kent. He's just a man with no name trying to make it without his powers being revealed for so long.
Which I also don't get, because why couldn't he be Clark Kent? Why did he have to be like a weird nomadic guy?
He didn't have to be.
Yeah.
He could have been. He's Clark Kent at the end of the movie.
He is.
So he could have been Clark Kent the whole time. And the Clark Kent shenanigans were so much fun before.
He was just finding himself.
I guess so, yeah.
And, I did like the learning to fly scene because it did just show him enjoying something and smiling.
He was happy.
And I think with superhero movies, you do need to show them enjoying their powers.
Yeah.
And not just exclusively be a burden.
Because in real life, they would be fun.
They would be fun.
Yeah.
And part of these kinds of stories is it's a power fantasy. And if it's only a burden, you won't be like, oh, I want that. No, that looks horrible. I don't want that.
Yeah.
But if they're having fun, it's like, it adds desire to the viewer or whatever. And then he immediately does a Christopher Reeve reference with the fly by Earth thing.
Oh, yeah.
Right after that. Then another little flashback they have. Clark getting bullied again. He got bullied a lot.
He did.
Which he was like basically a special needs kid in the town.
Yeah, from the looks of it, like how it would appear to the other kids.
Yeah, I don't...
That's what I was wondering, because I was thinking, like, were there actual full groups of bullies picking on
special
kids
needs
like that? And they were all okay with it?
I don't think so, personally. But
maybe Clark would be upset, go to Pa, and Pa would be like, you should probably just let them bully you.
You should ask.
Yeah.
And then, did you see what 13-year-old Clark was just reading there?
Plato?
Yeah, what the hell? He's 13.
Yeah.
Why is he reading Plato philosophy books?
And there's no mention of him being into philosophy or anything.
No.
Is there? No.
It's because Zack Snyder clearly took an intro to philosophy class at college, and that comes across in these movies. Because Lex Luthor directly quotes Plato in Batman versus Superman, but it's from the like intro course to philosophy.
I did not know that. And it shows in all of his movies, or a lot of
Like
them?
from his worldview, it shows
Yeah.
his worldview is Superman, because that it might not even be Plato, but I read this in intro philosophy. It was the God can't be all powerful and all good, and Lex Luthor says that all the time in Batman versus Superman. Like it was some revelation. But it's not.
That's funny.
It's not that deep.
No.
It's not.
That's really funny. And then after that, is that when Zod is invading? And he says he wants Superman?
Yeah.
Does he say he wants Lois Lane as well?
He does.
Yeah, because she's the only one that's
Because
been revealed to?
Yeah, she leaked that story.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
And he has access to Earth internet, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess. So he did some quick research first.
Yeah, he did a little Googling.
Like, first, let's see if there's anyone that knows him.
Mm-hmm.
And then he talks to that priest.
So that scene, what the hell was that?
It was unnecessary.
It was.
It served no purpose.
It didn't.
And then he said, the people of Earth can't be trusted.
The priest says that, right?
No, Superman
says that.
And I thought, that's not very Superman.
No.
He would probably have some faith in humanity.
And, like, why imply that he's religious?
Yeah, I don't know, because they always got to throw some religion into it.
They do. Oh, my God.
For some reason.
So then, by having him have that conversation with a priest, they're then adding just this new random character who knows who Superman is, basically, and then he's never going to be relevant again. Yeah. He could have had that exact conversation with the priest. He could have had that conversation with Lois, and then it better builds their relationship and shows that he trusts Lois in some capacity.
And it's also he's just being careless with his secret identity again. And he let Pa die to keep his secret identity.
Yes. So it's pretty nonchalant, the guy.
Yeah.
And then he does kind of have that same conversation with Lois.
Yeah, it was a dumb scene.
Yeah. It added nothing.
Yeah, why was it there?
I don't know. Oh, and this has deleted scenes. So how did that make it into the final cut of the movie?
Yeah, they chose that scene over the scene where they're saying this is why Superman's looking for this crypto.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah. Oh, my God.
And then he surrenders himself to the military, which is good.
The priest didn't really convince him to do that. He would have...
The priest? I don't even know if the priest said much to him.
No.
He was just like, so what do you think about it all?
What? And then when he's on Zod's ship,
first when he's surrendered to the military, he tells Lois that he let them cuff him to let them feel safer about it.
Yeah.
2 minutes later, he breaks the cuffs off and scares all of them.
He intentionally intimidates them.
Yeah. 2 minutes later.
Okay.
Like, what? He can't make up his mind if he's going to be a good guy or not.
That was for the imagery of having Superman in handcuffs.
Yeah.
That's entirely why they had that in there.
For sure.
For the trailer.
Yeah.
So that was in the trailer, I remember.
Yeah, I remember that too.
On Zod's ship, they explain how Zod and friends, in the time between the destruction of Krypton and them arriving on Earth, they've been investigating the Kryptonian outposts and have been finding them all dead, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then they also say the Kryptonian outposts had these terraforming machines.
Yeah.
How were they dying if they had terraforming machines? Why didn't they terraform these uninhabited planets and then get resources?
I don't know. I have no answer.
Okay.
Why didn't they fly away in their spaceships when their planet was exploding?
Let us know the answer.
Okay, also, at this point in the movie, I was having some sort of Man of Steel fatigue, and I got really tired. I might have missed a chunk here, but when Superman is getting used to the different climate and collapses, and Zod has that mind talk with him, how did Zod do that? Or did I not miss anything?
You didn't miss anything.
Okay. Yeah, and then he seems in control of the illusions that are happening in his mind talk and buries him in skulls.
Yes. So
I didn't know what was happening there. How did he do that?
They did the same thing to Lois, but they don't show it. Lois just says that happened, but I guess they had a machine of some kind. I don't know.
And why would they have made that?
I don't know. It would have been better if they say that's what the Phantom Zone is. But then Clark just wakes up on a table.
Yeah.
So it clearly wasn't.
And I think he has some things stuck to him, but there's nothing saying what was going on there. And how was Zod connected into it?
I don't know.
To interrogate him somehow. Okay.
They say very little about that.
I can't believe I didn't miss anything there. That's crazy.
And then Clark is 33 years old in this, according to Zod.
Oh, yeah.
Lois escapes Zod's ship with the help of USB and Jor-El. And then Clark's escaping the ship. He makes a big hole in it. And then he's like, hold on, Dad. I got a Christ pose real quick.
Right.
So...
Yeah, I noticed that too. In Superman Returns, he was unconscious when it happened. So it's not naturally how a body would go, but he wasn't trying to do it. Henry Cavill did it on purpose. Yeah. He was trying to look like Jesus. Yeah.
And like Clark's aware of Jesus.
Yeah, he was just at a church.
And then Jor-El says, you must save them all.
Yeah.
He's like, he's right, I'm Christ.
Yeah. It's got to his head immediately.
Yeah.
And then I think the main fight starts, which I liked when it was a 2-on-1 with him against Zod's two people there.
Theora and presumably Non,
yeah.
but I don't think they give him a name.
No, but that was some good fight.
I did like that fight, but there was some inaccuracies there. So at one point they fly through an IHOP.
Yeah.
And there's not many people in that IHOP, so no one dies.
Yeah.
An IHOP would never be that empty because it's too good.
Yeah.
Okay?
You're probably correct.
Yeah.
Maybe it was closed.
No, it wasn't, because Pete Ross is working that day.
Oh.
He is at that IHOP.
Yeah.
And then they crash through a Sears, and the Sears is empty. That one is accurate.
Do they crash through the IHOP again?
Do they double crash through the IHOP?
I thought I saw IHOP twice, because isn't that where they have a bit of a fight that takes a while, and then there are people sitting at the tables?
There's only a few people at the tables, though.
Okay, that's what you're saying.
An IHOP would always be packed to the brim.
Yeah, you're right. There should be people waiting in line.
Yeah, when I go to the International House of Pancakes, I have to wait at least 30 minutes to get in.
Yeah, and
then I eat so much that I feel sick.
And then you're slow moving to get out of there, so there's even more.
I would have died.
There. Yeah.
Oh, would have been a rough day for me.
And then also in Superman 2, Zod uses civilian lives as a weakness for Superman. Henry Cavill did not have that problem.
No, he didn't care.
He was smashing through every building and every explosive truck possible.
Theora says that he has that problem. He does not show he has that problem.
I was like, where did you pull that from? I haven't seen that.
It's an evident Theora.
You're just hoping, maybe.
I thought Theora was cool.
She was cool.
I thought she was cooler than Zod, even.
Zod, I think she was cooler than Zod. Zod wasn't that cool.
He's just always losing fights.
Yeah. Did they show how Non was defeated? Because when Theora was defeated, I was thinking, where did Non go? And then I thought maybe I missed that.
I'm not going to say for sure on that, because I don't remember what happened at the end of that fight.
Okay.
I remember they retreated for reasons.
Non's just still out there.
And then, well, presumably, because don't they show a bunch of the Kryptonians dying during the terraforming thing?
So he's just in that?
Maybe. They do show them dying, right?
The Kryptonians?
Yeah. Because Zod's team was like 10 people in this one.
Oh. Okay, you think he was just part of that?
I don't know.
He's one of the main crew.
But they didn't give him a name or show his face in this one.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you remember who fights him in The Flash?
Was it Michael Keaton and... Yeah. Or was it just Michael Keaton?
It's just Michael Keaton and he's zipping around on him.
Okay, that was really cool.
It was really cool.
While watching this movie, I was thinking I liked The Flash way more.
Oh, I liked The Flash way more than this too.
Yeah.
The Flash was a masterpiece of cinema.
Compared to this?
Compared to Man of Steel.
Absolutely. And it was a pretty Superman-y movie with Supergirl. And all the Kryptonian stuff happened.
I was never bored during Flash.
No.
This I was bored the entire time.
Also, Michael Keaton's, the way he was swinging around with the explosives
on the... cool Batman.
That was so cool. Anyway, enough about Flash. This is about Man of Steel.
I see you're almost out of notes there.
I'm
out of notes.
It was a lot just fighting at this point.
Yeah. They did a Superman 4 where they had...
a really long fight.
Yeah, like 45 minutes of fight.
But also when they started doing the gravity thing, and Superman had to destroy it by standing in the gravity part and struggling for a bit, did they say, wait, why couldn't he just fly from the side and hit it from the side?
Because he's a fool?
Oh, just because he's a fool? Yeah, okay.
He's not a thinker.
He went into like direct target of the blast. And also it was weird that this is the only thing he's done as Superman in the whole movie. He's not Superman. Like, he gets the suit and then he flies around and trains in flying, and then he's not Superman doing anything heroic until Zod shows up. And I also thought that Superman and Lois had zero romantic tension leading up to that kiss.
Oh, none.
They just kissed out of nowhere. There's no signals were given from either party beforehand. And I also thought that when Zod was lasering towards that family, they had plenty of time to run away.
Oh, for sure. They were cowering.
Yeah.
They weren't getting to safety at all.
No, they were cornered like on the side, but they could have run like slightly towards Zod.
It was a slowly moving beam.
Yeah, Superman had him locked in. They could have ran slightly towards Zod and then to the side. They would have been safe.
Also having Zod in that headlock. And that was a recreation from Superman 2.
Yeah, I remember that. And then also him killing Zod had no real effect because we haven't even seen him be like that good of a person in general. So we don't really know he's that against killing.
He doesn't have any established rule against killing.
No.
He just hasn't done it.
Yeah. So, and then he kills, we're like, okay. Yeah. He might want to do that, this version, for sure.
But no, he's upset by it. Jor-El isn't even against killing.
No, he killed a lot of people.
He did. Where did... Oh. And Paul Kent wasn't against letting people die.
No.
I don't know. Paul Kent is supposed to instill Superman's moral code into Superman.
Yeah, Paul Kent probably would have whispered in his ear, like, you should probably let this laser hit these kids.
He would have.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And that's all my notes now.
because 45 minutes of the movie was a fight.
Yeah, which
Without-
I didn't mind because it was the best part of the movie because every other part was pretty boring or frustrating.
But nothing really interesting was happening.
In the fight?
Yeah.
No, actually, I really liked the 2-on-1 fight, and then after that, all the fighting got kind of boring. for
Yes,
me as
exactly. I did like the 2-on-1
well.
fight.
Even the Superman versus Zod fight, it was sort of fun, but like nothing crazy.
And we already know Zod goes down like a little bitch. He's
yeah,
not
and he
top.
kind of did again.
Yeah. Yeah.
He also could have flown up. There was many ways to stop that without killing him as well. But I guess if he's cool with killing, why not kill him? Is he even bothered by that in the next movie? I guess we'll see.
I guess we will see. I don't know. And then Clark shows up at the Daily Planet wearing some spectacles.
Yeah.
And then he's a newsman now.
Yeah.
A man of letters.
And then normally it would give me hope of maybe there'll be some Clark Kent Daily Planet shenanigans in the next movie and it'll be a fun time. But I'm pretty sure that does not happen at all.
So where are you ranking Man of Steel in our ranking?
I watched this movie earlier today and then in midday I was like, maybe I'd put it in C. And then we talked about it and I got more and more angry.
Yeah.
So it's at most a D.
At most a
Okay. D. If you want to put it lower, I'm all down.
I was also... I had it at a D in my mind. And then also talking about, like, I hate this movie.
Yeah.
This is an F from me.
Okay, let's do F then. I'm all down for
Man of Steel gets an F.
What else was an F? The third one.
Yes.
Superman 3, yeah. It's there with Superman 3.
Which I did have more enjoyment watching 4.
Yeah, I enjoyed
Over
4.
Man
Like
of Steel.
it was a D, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what are all of them now? It was 1 and 2 at C, 3 at D, and Returns at D.
4 at D. He said 3, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Man of Steel and 3 at F.
Yes.
All right. That sounds good to me.
This was a hard watch for me personally. I had a hard time bringing myself to start it.
I sat through the whole thing in one go and it was rough as well. I had to pause it a couple times just to pee and I was like, maybe I don't go back.
Yeah. So Snyder fans out in the comments, let us know what you like about Man of Steel and what brings you back to give it a rewatch.
Yeah, prove us wrong.
Please do. This has been episode 13 of Kicking Trees, our Man of Steel review. We'll be coming back in next week with Batman vs. Superman. I'm Carter.
I'm Xander.
Thanks for watching and let us know your thoughts in the comments.
God, that was a frustrating movie. Talking about it fired me up.